I'm a roller coaster enthusiast, and I think a lot of people are, and a lot of people enjoy roller coasters. I mean, I love watching them. I watch videos of roller coasters on a daily basis, so yeah, I also love riding them. Obviously, I mean that's the reason why I also watch the roller coaster videos, so I know a little bit what to expect if I ever ride one. But a few years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, that wasn't the same. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, I would always ask, or even older, like 10, I was really afraid of roller coasters. I never wanted to ride a roller coaster that went upside down. I always stick to the kiddie coasters and the family rides. And even though they were as tall as the ride that went upside down, I still didn't really care as much. I mean, I'm afraid of heights, and I was like maybe a little nervous because they were really tall. But if, for example, I don't know if you know Typhoon at Bobby Island for Belgian people or maybe Dutch people. It's around 25 meters, so not that tall, but for someone that wasn't a fan of roller coasters back then, it was pretty tall. And you also have Dreamcatcher, which is a Vekoma suspended coaster. And uh, yeah, that was the same height, but I would rather ride Dreamcatcher than Typhoon because it didn't feel as tall if you were standing next to it, and it didn't go upside down. So that was a combination of rides that I didn't like. If the ride was really tall, I wouldn't ride it. If it went upside down, I wouldn't also ride it. And if it had a combination of both, I yeah, you know, you obviously know what would happen. I would also not ride it. So yeah, I was really afraid of roller coasters. Also, when if I didn't know what would happen, I would just say no, I'm not riding that. So I needed to see what would happen beforehand. Otherwise, I wouldn't go inside the queue and ride it. But I'm not a person. I mean, I was never one of these people that go inside a queue and then when they are about to ride that they would skip. So no, I wasn't. If I didn't want to ride it, I would just say no, then go inside the queue and then just go to the exit. But the I always wanted. I was really more the more and more the older I got, when around 11 or 12 years old, I was watching more roller coaster related videos, and I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, etc. So I was really a fan of roller coaster, but I was just afraid of the really tall roller coasters and roller coasters that had inversions. So I there was one roller coaster at Efteling that, yeah, Python, that was back then the only ride that went upside down in Efteling. And yeah, that looked like a good first roller coaster for people that didn't experience going upside down before. So I started watching those videos and I was actually like, maybe I want to ride it, maybe. But then in person, I was like, it looks so tall, I don't want to ride it. So, and it goes upside down 4 times. Look at those vertical loops, they're so tall. And hear those people scream, they're scared. And you know, yeah, yeah, those thoughts were going through my head. I didn't write it. So the year after that, we also went to Efteling with my mom's work, and that was the first time that I ever wrote Python. And after that, I was really proud of myself because I finally conquered a fear of mine, going upside down. But the main reason why I didn't really want to write it was because I was always thinking it looks so much taller in person than on videos. So that was always why I didn't really want to ride it. I didn't really know that I was afraid of heights, but that was always a thought that went through my head, it's yeah, that it was really tall, and so like it's so tall. That was the thought that I had every time that I saw it. But after that, I really started to enjoy roller coasters that went upside down, and then after that, I also rode Typhoon, and yeah, what else did I ride? I don't think I rode another ride. Oh yeah, I also went to I think I also went to Avonturenpark Hellendoorn just for one day. And yeah, Tornado is almost the same as Python, but just one loop and one corkscrew. And yeah, after that, I was just going on every single ride, every single roller coaster that went upside down. But then, when I was 14, we went to Walibi Holland. So the first ride that we it was for 2 days, and the first ride that I went to was Express Platform 13. The launch roller coaster. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a clone of a rock and roller coaster at Disney, but it's outdoors instead of indoors, and a different theme as well. So I started go I was just walking inside the queue. It was my first launch coaster ever. We were just going inside the queue and we rode it, and I really enjoyed it. The launch was I I really enjoyed the launch, especially the build up before the launch. I was really I was getting more nervous, and I really felt like the nerves were just getting I was getting more and more nerves because of the build up, like the lights before it actually launches, etc. It was really cool, and then the launch came and it was really forceful, and after that I just enjoyed it, and yeah, that was my first launch coaster. But then the main goal that I had was to ride both my first boomerang, first Vekoma boomerang, Speed of Sound. It was a lot taller than the roller coaster that I rode before. You know, Python was the tallest roller coaster that went upside down that I rode, and that was 29 meters, and Speed of Sound is like few meters taller. So it was really nice, and I think I sat in the middle somewhere because I didn't really have a seat that I preferred. I just wanted to go on the ride and just experience it, and I really enjoyed it. I saw the trains were the same as on Python, and yeah, they were really comfortable. So no head banging, etc. That was just really nice. But then the main goal was to ride Goliath at Walibi Holland. You know, that was the tallest roller coaster in the Benelux, so Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. And yeah, when I stood there in person, it was really tall, and I didn't really dare to look up because it was just so tall. It was really intimidating. And yeah, we just got inside the queue because I just said, don't think, I just walk inside the queue, and after that I will just maybe regret it. But yeah, we just went. It was a pretty long queue, as always, and yeah, we were just boarding our vehicle, and I was always sitting in. I was again sitting somewhere in the middle, and yeah, that was really just a cool ride. And I looked down, and I was really scared. Like I was really nervous. Also, it only had a lap bar, so I was like, it's only the lap bar. How is that going to keep me from falling out? I was one of those people before I was really a general public. So I really stapled myself. So but I mean I was a really skinny kid, so it didn't really bother me. I still had some room, but that first drop that felt amazing. That was my god. That first drop, that was amazing, and that feeling was just addicting. And then the second hill was also really awesome, and then that was that ride was just amazing. And that ride there, because of that ride, I was even more into roller coaster than I was already. And so that was my first big roller coaster. But then when I turned 16, I we went to Europa Park because my mom promised me, uh, when you are 16, we will go to Europa Park. So you did. And yeah, they have this really tall ride called Silver Star. And I was even more nervous than uh, Goliath, because I knew Goliath was really tall, but Silver Star was Goliath plus the height of Troy, in comparison. I know it's not exactly, but it was just how I started to imagine things. That was just to get a good image of how tall it actually was. And again, it looked really tall, and it really towered over all the rest of Europa Park. So we saw it in the distance, on the highway, and was really pumped up, and I was really nervous as well. We got into Europa Park, and the first ride that we went to were a couple of family coasters, and then I also think we rode Blue Fire first. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That was such an iconic roller coaster. Like, everybody was talking about Blue Fire, and you saw it in every single roller coaster video. So I was really looking forward as well. And that ride disappointed. That was quite disappointing, but that's for maybe another video. And then also Woden. That was an amazing roller coaster. I thought it was better than Troy, but I really enjoyed both. And then I think it was almost the last ride of the day, and that was Silver Star. And so I was looking like straight up, and it was so tall, like really tall. I was getting really nervous. I was just but I was just I had this weird feeling that I was really looking forward to this, but also I was kind of nervous because I was kind of scared as well. So I don't know how to express it, but it's such a weird feeling, both having like being happy and looking forward to something, but also being nervous. So yeah, we also rode it in the middle, and we climbed the lift hill, and I was looking down when we dropped. I closed my eyes because I was just so scared. But we got off. I opened my eyes again when we passed the first drop, got into those first airtime hills. That was just such an that was just the biggest challenge I ever had. That was Yeah. I mean, I was just so proud when I got off, and then the next day we also went to yeah, we had 2 days at Europa Park, and the second day we went in the front row on Silver Star. I think it was this time it was the first or second ride of the day. So we were waiting, and it was real. Yeah, we were in the front row. It was raining, so uh, it was yeah, it was really cool. I didn't close my eyes, but the rain kind of hurt. But I was just really proud of myself for doing that, and that's basically how I got over my fear. I mean, I'm still afraid of some rides. For example, drop towers. I like drop towers a little bit, but I also hate them. I have a love-hate relationships with them. I can never get on one, but once I'm on one, When I get offline, I really enjoyed the experience. But after that, now I'm just going on every single ride that there is, every single roller coaster. Drop towers, not so much, but I think the rest. For from roller coaster, I think yeah, I rode the the Schwur des Kernan in 2020, and that was a really nice ride, and I felt still intimidated and was nervous, but still really enjoyed it, and it's my favorite ride ever. So the advice that I wanted to give you is, if you're afraid of roller coasters, I'm just talking about my own experience. So what I kind of did was building up a little bit. If you're afraid of heights, build up a little bit. For don't start with the tallest height first, but just like get on the. If you're really afraid of heights, then just go on the kiddie ride, and then if you feel comfortable, you can go on a bigger family on a family ride, and then build up a little bit and getting taller and taller and taller. And yeah, I think that's the way to do it, because if you're getting, for example, if you're just the first time that you ride a roll, so if you're afraid of heights and the first thing that you do is, so yeah, I mean, if you're starting from, for example, if you're at Europa Park and the first you're afraid of heights and the first thing that you will do is go on Silver Star, that is a possibility. But I also think that if you have then a negative experience, and you're maybe, I mean, if you have a negative experience, I don't think that you will ever ride a ride so tall. So I think that you can better build up a little bit and have positive experiences beforehand. So if you ride, for example, like I did, start with the kiddie coasters, and then go on larger family rides, and then maybe a bigger wooden roller coaster, and then your first roller coaster that goes upside down, etc. I think if you do it like this, and then get on them, like for example, if you're at Europa Park, then first start with maybe uh or no, let's say Bobby Island. I mean, that's the park that I know the best. So if you're at Bobby Island, and it really applies to almost every single park. So if you're really afraid of heights, the first thing that I think you should do is get on Bob Express, the powered Mac powered coaster, because that's just a mild ride and not that tall. And then go on bigger rides such as maybe Speedy Bob, the Mac Wild Mouse. Then after that, go on Okie Dokie, the Vekoma Junior coaster, because it's taller than the Wild Mouse. But I mean, that I think that's also already a pretty extreme kiddie coaster. I mean, that first drop is a special. I'm like 19. I still go get on that ride, and I'm still really looking forward for that first drop, especially in the back row. It's just such a nice drop. But then get on. So then get on another ride. For I think Revolution would be a really nice, or so Revolution, the Coma Illusion, or and then Dreamcatcher, I think, because then you have all the four or five family rides, and then after that, if you're really comfortable, then maybe try Typhoon or Fury. I think Typhoon is a little smaller, but it goes more upside down. So if you're afraid of going upside down, not so much of heights, then I think Fury is a better option. But if you are more afraid of heights, then I think Typhoon is a bit better option. So one of the two, and then, but only if you're having positive experiences. Because if you have a negative experience, for example, someone forces you to go on a ride, then, and you just, maybe already feel like uh you don't feel safe, then you will immediately think negative and get scared, etc. So I think you should start with getting positive experiences, and then build up a little bit. So also for people that maybe know someone that isn't really into roller coaster or not really a fan of tall things, then just don't force them to go on a ride that they don't want to, because it might also it might have a more negative outcome than a positive one. So just let them be. Just maybe help them. Also, good tip is to go with maybe someone that you know. Go on a ride and yeah, just go on a ride together. I think it's more fun if you go on a ride that with someone that you know than on a coaster just by yourself. But yeah, that's the tip that I have. So don't just don't start from the tallest ride at the park, but just build up a little bit. And if you have yeah, for example, you didn't really reach that hyper coaster, for example, so if you're just maybe if you feel not, for example, you did all the family rides that there were and you think that you're not really ready for that big ride, just don't force yourself to go on one, because yeah, it's something that you want to enjoy, that you need to enjoy. It's just there. You paid for every ride that you want to. It's not like you have to pay. It's not like you paid because it's not because you paid that you have to ride every single thing in the park. No, you can just do whatever you want and just maybe stick to the family rides until you feel more comfortable to ride the bigger ones. So that's the thing that I actually applied myself. So first I started with the family rides, and I started with um, Python, and then I went on to Goliath, and then on to Silver Star, and then on to Expedition GeForce, Colossus. What else? I already forgot. Yeah, the Schwodes Canon. Yeah, those right. So that's really something that I wanted you to know. So if you're afraid of roller coasters, just build up a little bit. If you're afraid of heights, and for people that don't feel safe, every ride is safe. So the chances of dying on a ride or getting injured on a ride are much lower, like much lower than, for example, if you're just go shopping, for example. So that's just something to know. And for people that are afraid of going upside down, I mean, I'm just talking about my own experience. So it's not that, it's not really that weird of a sensation. So it's not something to be afraid of. But if you just don't like that feeling or you're afraid of one, just maybe don't do it. But if you really want to, maybe go on a ride that's not that tall, or maybe a ride that's not that intense, and maybe just has one vertical loop or one corkscrew. For example, Python at Efteling is a really good ride for beginners, I think, because it drop isn't that big. The loops aren't too impressive and aren't too forceful, and also it's just a really comfortable ride. So yeah, those are the tips that I have. I hope you really enjoyed it, and maybe I have maybe now I share your thoughts on the tactics that I applied. And if you are afraid of roller coasters and you have a different reason, let me know in the comments so that maybe I can make a different video about that and do some more research about that, and maybe help you as well, because the more people that enjoy roller coasters, I think the bigger that the roller coaster enthusiast community will be. So thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoy it. Comment down below your thoughts and maybe subscribe. Thank you very much and keep on riding. Bye.